Welcome back inside the Nittany Lion Sports Report, everybody. It is time for the Blitz, where we take you to the whiteboard and break down one concept of Penn State football, show you how it's going to manifest itself on the field or what we've seen in prior weeks. And this week it's about Sean Clifford, and we talked about it in the opening part of the show here, but how Clifford has been one of the, we'll say, the inefficiencies of the offense, and how I think with a better performance from him, it's going to make the offensive line look better. And frankly, I think it's going to result in a higher margin of victory in games like we saw a week and a half ago against Pittsburgh. So I broke this down, Clifford, the quarterback here, and I defined here 4 quadrants of the football field and where his eyes are. And so, we'll count this area here as the general screen area. This downfield to the left-hand side, this obviously downfield to his right, and this the screen side on the right. When you take a look at quarterbacks, and Trace McSorley was tremendous at this, and the ability to get from here, from a vision perspective, to over here from a vision perspective, and back to here to get to a third, what we call progression. Progression 1, progression 2, progression 3, in whatever order you might say. McSorley was very, very talented at doing that. And that's why he was able to get guys like going back to Chris Godwin and Saeed Blacknall and Mike Gesicki and all those guys involved, not to mention Barkley out of the backfield, which would be a read down here. He was so good at that, and that is going to come with time for Sean Clifford. But what I've seen from him thus far is a struggle with, one, keeping the feet set in the pocket. And listen, there's a natural amount of movement that you have to do. Kenny Pickett, again, for Pittsburgh, did a great job of being able to slide his feet from one side of the pocket to the other. But it was footwork done with purpose, it was footwork executed properly, and it was footwork with the eyes still downfield. I hate to say happy feet, but Sean Clifford has had happy feet at times over the course of the year. And you'll see kind of sputtering those feet, weight on the heels, which is why you see some back leg throws at times from Sean Clifford. And when that's the case, you're worried more about finding the nearest defender rather than the eyes downfield. It's just natural. It's not possible to be able to have poor footwork and truly go through those progressions one by one to get to your third or even your fourth option. So for a quarterback like Trace McSorley, I'd think of the field more like this. Are you going to drop it off? Or are you going to fire down the field and be able to, find a receiver on either side at any length, go into the end zone, wherever it might be? But Sean Clifford, to this point in the season, I'm going to break this down into 4 quadrants, and I've only seen his ability to get to his second progression. So if he's looking first option here for a streaking KJ Hamler, and Hamler's covered, and perhaps he can see the tight end going down the seam, that's read 1. Read 2 is going to be likely over here, and this is whether it's one of the running backs or if it's somebody running a quick out over here. That's about all he can do. This side of the field is completely open. And so the issue is that when you have Jahan Dotson, KJ Hamler, and Justin Shorter, so Z, slot, and X receiver, the X receiver is always on his own side of the field. So Justin Shorter, I think, has done a decent job to get himself open, whether that's a crossing route, whether that's a curl route, or if he's trying to beat his guy deep along the sideline, and it's a good time to throw a deep ball and let him go get it against a smaller cornerback. So I think he's actually done a decent job of that. But when Sean Clifford doesn't have the footwork to keep his eyes downfield, can't get to his third progression, you're siphoning off this side of the field, and that's an issue. And it's an issue for Penn State going forward as they're going to go against bigger, stronger defenses, more agile corners, but most importantly, more effective defensive linemen that are going to be getting into the backfield. And so that's what I'm seeing right now with Sean Clifford. It's not something that can't be fixed. It's something he had to deal with at the high school level, certainly, and in limited action and against scout team and whatever it might be. He's going to find a way to succeed, but it's all going to start with the footwork in the backfield, in the pocket, being able to move effectively and efficiently with sound footwork rather than happy feet. Keep the eyes downfield, and now open up this entire field. Because with Shorter and Freiermuth and Hamler and Dotson and a tremendous catching running back out of the backfield and Ricky Slade, You tell me why those 5 targets and those 5 weapons shouldn't be able to contend with any defensive backfield in the Big Ten. It will. It can. They're talented enough to do it. They're highly recruited kids. They're tremendous athletes. Sean Clifford is the difference to bring that home. So that's our Blitz segment here today. Think about that as you're watching the games over the course of the next few weeks. How many progressions? Clifford, this way, eyes downfield. Now check it down. Is he getting to his 3rd or 4th progression? Or are we seeing more of, I'm trying to get the ball out quickly. I'm more worried about where the blocking's coming from, and keep an eye on that footwork. Those are the keys to Sean Clifford's success. We know he can throw a great ball. But now, can he find the receivers and deliver effectively to manage the football game? That's what I'm looking forward to.